BGH, big game hunting. Ex-teammates Jose Calderon and Monte getting together. Knicks trying to get a win, of course. Season not going too well for them. Here you see Tyson Chandler back against his old team. They thought he was a cancer over there. I don't think so. He's doing pretty well in Dallas. It's coming down to the final frame, of course. Fourth quarter action here. We see J.R. Smith with the big jumper to push things to 95 all. Overtime. And when it's overtime for Dallas, it's Dirk time. Disco Dirk with the big shot. Mavs win 103-99. Big game hunting, of course. A lot of ex-teammates on the floor in that game. And just thinking about the way Tyson Chandler exited New York, it was ugly. Guys were claiming that he wasn't, a good presence in the locker room. But then when you look at him in Dallas, it's like, okay, well, what was New York talking about there? So first off, who made the best impression, Jeff? We'll start with you. Of all the ex-players, Monte, of course, you got Calderon going up with the old guys. Who made the biggest impression for you?
Well, Jose obviously had a big game, but if the Knicks are looking for Jose to be, I love Jose. We all love Jose, but if they're hoping Jose is going to be a big part of their offense and leaning on him to help turn things around, you got some issues.
The Knicks have no hopes.
Yeah.
They just are a collection of players with contracts.
Well, would you say that? I mean,
That's a good one.
Hold on. The Mavericks got the best offense in the league. They took them to overtime without Carmelo Anthony. So we all know about Melo, but the fact that this bunch of spare parts.
That happens sometimes. The Mavericks didn't bring their A game on a certain night, and there's 82 games. The Mavs did what they had to do to win the game.
They're a bad team on a good day.
But sometimes it just, that's what happens.
So what's surprising you guys more at this point? That the Knicks are this bad, or that when you turn around and look at what the Dallas Mavericks are doing, they're pretty damn good?
I don't think there's any surprises there. The Knicks did absolutely nothing to better their team.
Well, I mean, they made sure they re-upped Carmelo, did that.
Okay, and as I feel like we've talked about so many times, usually on the couch, but now in this fancy set, we'll talk about it here. Carmelo is an unbelievable basketball talent.
Unbelievable
as an
tech investor.
individual player. He is not a winning basketball player in the NBA. There was no reason to think the Knicks were going to be any better. They added Jose Calderon, a nice veteran player, but again, not a guy who impacts winning. And the Knicks are 4-12, and nobody is surprised.
I'm a little surprised that they're this bad. I'm not surprised Dallas is this good. Rick Carlisle's a great coach. He's got good players in the team.
I don't remember none of you guys bigging up Dallas at the beginning of the season. Someone should be surprised by this.
But this bad, they still play in the Eastern Conference in the Atlantic. They're awful.
Yeah.
They're horrible.
They're not as bad as Philly.
But no one's as bad as Philly.
I mean, they're kind of neck and neck, I guess, with
State
Boston.
is better than Philly.
Even it feels like Boston has a little bit more young talent. The Knicks have no young talent.
Jeff, quickly, chime in here. You're impressed by
Dallas. I love every year. It seems like they pull out players and they bring in a roster that never really you would think mesh.
Yeah.
But this group with Monte and Tyson really solidifies any team he's on.
He just didn't fit with New York because there was too much ego.
He got hurt last year too. That obviously derailed things. But then you put Tyson there, your entire defensive team just
25
defense.
Dirk ain't got to play no defense no more. All right, here, still more big game hunting. A game I thought was going to be a big game. I mean, you talk about Eastern Conference, brand power. You got the Cavs and the Wizards. LeBron James, oh my gosh, the people have been on him. Kev Love, Kyrie Irving. There you see him and Kev Love in that pick and roll situation working to perfection, and then right through the Wizards defense like a hot knife through butter. The kid's doing his thing. Here we see a little rough moment. Tristan Thompson doing what he does, of course, which is putting his shoulder into bodies. The Wizards not feeling it, that rivalry building up there. But TT, keep doing your thing, man. We got so much love for you over here. LeBron James in the clutch moments. Well, there really were no clutch moments in this game. The Cavs kind of ran away with it. Was anyone disappointed that the Wizards couldn't put up a better effort? Because we're looking at that team as one of the stalwarts of the Eastern Conference. And even though the Cavs have had their trouble, there was kind of a big margin between what the two could do, Dan.
The Wizards are disappointing, and I'll tell you why. I don't think they play defense as hard as a team like the Raptors does, and they're inconsistent. You really don't know what you're going to get. One night you think, man, they could beat any team in the league, and then the next night it's not there. And I think what they lack is an identity, which is what the Raptors have, which is why I would rate the Raptors ahead of them. But also Cleveland last night, Cleveland's playing desperate right now. They have to win every game. They have to win big, and they don't want to fault. Not that they're not going to make the playoffs, but at 7-7, they want to make sure they're comfortably over 500. That game was way more important to Cleveland last night.
All right, now, Dwayne, let me throw this at you. I mean, We're looking at the Cavs having struggles finding an identity, and one thing we noticed last night was they put a lot more screen and roll situations for Kev Love and LeBron James. LeBron walks away with 29 and 10. Are they starting to find their identity, you feel? 14 games?
We know this team is going to figure it out, obviously. I mean, they've got too much talent in this ball club not to. LeBron James is the best player in the league. Some games he's trying to facilitate, sometimes he's trying to take his. Kevin Love's got to get, I think he's shooting under 40% from the field, which is pretty bad for him. They're going to find their way. I'm not entirely worried about them. Washington, they have to show me more because they're not ready to be an elite team in the Eastern Conference, whatever. This is the battle of the best back conferences in the East,
best
remember?
backcourts in the East, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was the battle of the best backcourts in the East because the Raptors weren't on the floor.
Both of those guys had said they were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
they
think
can say a
everybody
lot
saw
of
it.
things.
Raptors have two of the best backcourts in the East.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. All right, now Jeff, your thoughts. I mean, here's what I want to throw to you. A lot of noise is being made about LeBron James, but we got to flip it. John Wall, even though the Wizards have been inconsistent, has he taken a step as a player? Because I think I wasn't a John Wall believer, but I'm seeing some things out of this kid that make me think maybe he can take it to the next level.
You would think that he would figure it out. It's just you would always love to rein people back rather than trying to push them and get that engine going. But John Wall, he just needed time. He just needs time to figure it out. Figure out the best way to attack with his gifts,
It's
which is
speed
natural
kills.
gift of being the fastest guy and one of the fastest guys in the NBA. So, just him taking time to figure it out. The inconsistency though with what you guys said with all their other players, it's just, it's going to be difficult for him to kind of figure it out too. So.
I mean, Wall has to though, because don't forget when he got cut, he said he's going to prove everyone wrong. So he has to every night show that he's the guy.
All right, we got to go to break, of course, and talk about some other stuff. The Canadians when we get back, but I think they're really missing the presence of a young Trevor Ariza, or a middle-aged Trevor Ariza, whatever point he's in his career. But he was big for them. Listen, still more to come here on the Hangout. You guys trust us to be Canada's home for hoops? Well, we got to talk about the Canadians when we return. Kelly Olynyk, Wiggins, let's go.